Network Entertainment.
This paper highlights how women contribute to climate adaptation in the Philippine context, specifically in Philippine agriculture. And it emphasizes the importance of recognizing the roles and support that women play in building a more resilient and inclusive agricultural sector. I'd be honest, back then, like siguro a few years ago, hindi ko talaga nakikita yung importance of knowing gender. I thought that pag usapan natin to, we can talk about this in general. Anyway, everybody is feeling the same. So, I just happened to enroll Gender and Environment. It's a course under SESAM kasi yung PhD ko rin kasi NVISI din. So, essentially, naubos ko na lahat ng courses ng SESAM. So, ito na lang yung natira. So, it took it. But then, lalo na dun sa social science na aspect wherein Prof. Irene discussed yung several gender theories, it really made me realize a lot of things, and it made me realize na I've been missing a lot right under my nose. Kasi kaya pala ganito yung paraan kung bakit nag-ooperate ang society, ang norm. It's because of the social theories, yung mga gender theories na yan. And then na-realize ko, it's such a big mistake not to consider this upfront, lalo na kung gagawa ng policies, gagawa ng mga studies.
Sa tuwing nagbabasa kayo ng mga research papers, nagtataka din ba kayo kung paano ito naisipan gawin ng mga researchers? Paano nila na-transform ang idea nila para maging isang actual na research project? Saan sila kumuha ng funding para magawa to? Paano nila nalaman na ang results nila ay pwede na nilang ipasa for publication? Dito sa Behind the Science podcast ay kakausapin natin ang ating mga Pinoy scientists para ibahagi hindi lang ang mga resulta ng kanilang pag-aaral, kundi pati na rin ang mga behind the scenes or behind the science stories nito. Simula sa kung paano nila ito naisipan gawin hanggang sa na-publish na nila ito. So this podcast is in partnership with the UP Resilience Institute, the Philippine Agricultural Scientist, the Philippine Journal of Fisheries, and SciEngJ. So ang UP Resilience Institute ay long-time partners na namin dito sa podcast. Nung nagsisimula pa lang kami, nandyan na sila para tumulong sa amin. At para lang sa kaalaman ng lahat, ako ngayon ay isang UPRI Research Fellow. The Philippine Agricultural Scientist is the first international journal in the Philippines and Southeast Asia in the field of agriculture. It is published by the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, College of Agriculture and Food Science. It publishes articles in the fields of tropical agricultural science and related areas including environmental science, food science, engineering, biotechnology, economics, rural sociology, development communication, agroforestry and silviculture, and marine and fishery science. The Philippine Journal of Fisheries is the official publication of the Department of Agriculture, National Fisheries Research and Development Institute. It covers all aspects of fisheries, both in basic and applied sciences, as well as related fields of studies such as capture fisheries, aquaculture, post-harvest technology, marketing and industry, ecology, oceanography, conservation, biotechnology, food safety, socioeconomics, and systematics in freshwater, estuarine, marine, and other identifiable water habitats. SciEngJ, formerly known as the Philippine Science Letters, is the official journal of the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering. It covers studies in the natural, physical, mathematical, computational, and social sciences, including those related to agriculture, health, engineering, environment, education, and technology. So kung may paper kayong gustong i-publish at pasok ito sa scope ng mga journals na ito, please consider submitting to one of them. At syempre importante, take note na hindi kayo pwede mag-submit ng sabay-sabay sa 3 journals na ito. Kasi bawal yon. Dapat sa isang journal muna kayo mag-submit. At ang mga journals na to ay index na rin sa Web of Science, Scopus, ASEAN Citation Index, and sa Imago Journal Ranking. Kaya masisiguro nyo dito ang mataas na standard at mabusisi na review process para masiguro ang high quality papers na pinapublish. So if you're interested in publishing your research in one of these journals, check nyo ang guidelines at ang links ay nasa description. Magandang araw mga kapwa-siyentista at welcome sa isa na namang episode ng Behind the Science podcast. Ako si Paul Flores, ang inyong host, And our guest is a Science and Technology Fellow at the DOST, Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic and Natural Resources Research and Development, or DOST PICARD. She is an environmental scientist whose work focuses on ecosystem services, nature-based solutions, and natural capital accounting with the goal of strengthening the recognition and integration of nature into development planning and decision-making. Her work spans research, policy support, and capacity building initiatives that promote more sustainable and resilient management of natural resources in the Philippines. She is also currently pursuing her PhD in environmental science at UP Las Bañas. So without further ado, let's all welcome Miss Gemaline Tres Palacio.
Hello po sa mga nakikinig. Yes, I'm very honored to be here and sana meron tayong maging meaningful na discussion. Nakakapupulutan ng aral ng mga nakikinig. Thank you so much.
And so welcome po sa podcast, Miss Gem. At bago tayo magsimula, no, kung nag-enjoy kayo dito sa podcast at gusto nyo ang ginagawa namin dito, paki-like naman ang episode na ito at mag-subscribe na rin kayo sa mga social media platforms ng Behind the Science Podcast. Makikita nyo kami sa Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Facebook. Paki-rate na rin kami ng 5 stars para mas madami pa tayong maabot na audience. So ang topic natin ngayon, so in celebration ng Women's Month, ang pag-uusapan natin ay ang role ng kababaihan sa agriculture. At ang i-feature natin na study ngayon ay hindi pa pala na-publish. But as of recording, hindi pa siya available online pero makikita nyo ito sa The Philippine Agricultural Scientist. And also, please check din yung other episodes natin with the Philippine Agricultural Scientist, also featuring women in STEM. So please check episode 109 with Miss Marcela Navasero and Miss Melissa Montecalvo. Ang pinag-usapan namin doon ay tungkol sa isang fungus na pwedeng gawing natural pesticide na laban sa harabas. At episode 107 with Miss Shelo Mondihar, ang pinag-usapan naman namin ay improving rice seed quality gamit ang mga organic fertilizers. Bago natin pag-usapan ang ginawang study ni Ma'am Gem, pag-usapan muna natin of course yung naging journey niya as a scientist. So Ma'am Gem, kayo po ay isang SNT Fellow sa DOST PICARD. So can you share din po sa lahat ng nakikinig dito, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng SNT Fellow sa DOST?
Ang DOST, meron siyang program wherein gusto nila kasing i-enhance yung capacity. So gusto nilang mas strengthen yung mga scientific na mga endeavor through having fellows. So ang mga fellows ay nire-request base sa pangangailangan ng mga DOST-attached agencies. So in the case of the OST PICARD, they found the need for having someone who is focused on natural capital accounting, ecosystem services, and valuation. So kaya sila nag-request sa DOST na maghanap ng S&T Fellow. So doon ako pumasok. So ganyan din po yung nangyayari sa ibang agencies. May mga fellows, medical field, kasi nakita na kailangan natin ng ganito. So parang enhancement po siya para mas mapalaganap, mas mapalawak ang impact ng research and development.
Ay, talking about SNT Fellow, may naging guest din tayo dito dati na SNT Fellow ng PNRI, si Dr. Carmina Aquino. Tapos ang pinag-usapan namin doon ay yung nasukat nila na natural na hydrogen na degassing doon sa Zambales na pwede siyang maging source of energy kapag ma-develop in the future. Naging viral na news yan dating hydrogen sa Zambales. So please check yung episode na yun. And ayun, going back dito sa topic natin today, na-mention niyo po yung term na capital accounting. Can
Yeah.
you share din po sa amin, ano pong ibig sabihin nun?
Okay. So this really focuses on yung natural capital. So as it is, ang measure kasi natin ng national wealth is in the context of gross development product. So GDP. So pwede kasing ang taas ng GDP mo pero to the expense naman ng natural capital. So essentially, hindi holistic na representation ng national wealth kung GDP lang siya magfo-focus. Um, what we are trying to push right now is the recognition of integrating natural capital into the systems of national accounts. So, ibig sabihin, aside sa pag-declare natin ng ating GDP, we also have to declare na we still have this much of natural resources para holistic. Kasi at the end of the day, yung natural capital kasi natin ang magkikeep ng sustainability ng ating resources. So, pwede mo kasing sabihin na, oh, ang yaman-yaman ko, pero in the next 5-10 years, wala ka ng forest, wala ka ng marine coastal resources. So, kumbaga, hindi nga napapakita yung sustainability. And what's good about making our natural capital invisible, especially sa economic planning development, is that we see the importance of how the natural capital can support the sustenance and sustainable development in general ng ating resources. So once we know that if i-push natin yung economic development this much without really considering natural resources, it will not go far. So yun po yung natural capital accounting. We account for the natural capital sa year, opening year, and then sa end year, so as to check kung ano ba yung changes sa extent, sa condition, sa ecosystem service provision, and then, well, definitely it can be a helpful tool for us to reconsider, did we do well, and then shall we do this again in the next few years, so things like that. So, yun po.
So may ano na rin siya, may overlap na rin siya sa economics, parang ganun.
Um, more on integration, yes. So, medyo usaping economics din po ito. It's actually complicated, very cross-cutting, since we're dealing with natural capital, which actually also deals with a lot of things, socio-economic, policies, yan, syempre ecological, and of course, yung economic aspect, yeah, governance and that.
Nung bata po kayo, ito ba yung pinangarap niyong maging trabaho niyo pagkalaki niyo? Kailan niyo
No.
na-realize na gusto niyo mag-scientist?
Hindi po, kasi, well, lumaki ako sa probinsya. Yeah, i-share ko lang, Bayugan, Agusan del Sur. Hello sa mga taga Bayugan. Like niyo, follow niyo to. Hindi po, kasi back then, alam niyo po yung parang ang uso, engineering, law, CPA, ganan. So, this was actually, well, nung nag-take ako ng entrance exam was the first time I learned about something called environmental science. So, sa klase, when we talk about environmental science, it wasn't even branded as environmental science. Parang tinitake lang siya as, okay, something about environment. So, it's probably about science. But yung environmental science, parang hindi pa siya ganun kasikat. Or at least, sa akin, that time, no, hindi pa siya ganun kasikat. So, I never imagined myself being here right now if you were to ask me when I was 15 years old.
Pero yung pagkahilig niyo po sa science, I mean, nung pinursue niyo yung BS Environmental Science, ano lang talaga yun? Gusto niyo lang maiba? Parang before that, nung high school kayo, hindi kayo interested sa science?
Actually, paano ba? Hindi ako magaling sa arts. Hindi ako magaling sa everything else. So actually, nakikita ko sarili ko doing something about science. So, may mga exams ako na electrical engineering, may mga exams ako na physics. So, talagang leaning towards science, pero hindi environmental science. Oo.
From graduating dun po sa BS Environmental Science, ano naman po yung nangyari? Did you go immediately sa graduate school or nagtrabaho muna kayo?
So, actually, I was so naive back then. Hindi ko nga alam yung environmental science. So, while I was completing my bachelor's degree, ang nasa isip ko lang, environmental science. So, I'd probably should be at DNR or in a mining corporation kasi sa Caraga, we have really lots of mining
Yes.
industries. But things didn't go well as planned. Like, hindi naman siya talaga nangyayari ng ganun. So, at some point, nag-explore ako ng mga bagay-bagay. I really found my, say, purpose when I took my master's degree in environmental science. So the reason why I took environmental science because I didn't know na kapag NVSci BS ka, pwedeng ibang masters ang kunin mo. So, yeah, I was so naive. I thought that if yung BS is environmental science, dapat parallel din. So, dapat yung masters mo, environmental science. So, that's why I took environmental science. But it was definitely, I'd say, a blessing in disguise, that naivety kasi na dun ko na-realize ang dami-daming pwedeng puntahan ng isang environmental scientist. You just have to define and determine kung ano yung niche, and then you just have to know the right people. So, yon. When I was at CESAM, School of Environmental Science and Management at the UPLB, siya yung nag-direct sa akin na, okay, eto pala dapat yung gawin ko. And there's really a lot of things that can be done. Yeah.
Ay, ito po pala since Women's Month, may nilo-look up po ba kayo na ano din, women in science na talagang nag-inspire sa inyo na magstay sa environmental science?
Ang masasabi ko na gano'n are my two, were my two former, professors back in college. Hello, Ma'am Vandia. Hello, Ma'am Aisa. So yeah, they were young and they were so brilliant, and I can't help but be motivated na sana one day gano'n din ako makapagturo or can inspire others the way they inspired me.
Habang nandyan kayo sa UPLB, naging ano din ba kayo? Did you also work as a research assistant or purely parang DOST scholar kayo na nag-focus sa studies?
So, yes, thanks to the UST ASTHRDP, plug na naman, sorry, I hope it's fine.
Okay lang po.
I was able to to study full time as master student sa CESAM. But after um completing my master's degree, naging research associate po ako sa isang FISHER funded na project. That was Philippine LiDAR, PhilLiDAR program. Yeah, so we did mapping and simulation of flooding in Laguna and Palawan. Yeah, Mimaropa and Laguna.
Di ba yung LiDAR po ito yung may lilipad na maliit na plane?
Yes, yeah.
Sumakay kayo
Yeah,
dun
so
sa loob?
hindi po. So, well, okay lang din naman. So, ang ginagawa ko more on sa desk, like the preparation of the data through GIS. So we process yung mga remotely sensed na data nung LiDAR yung nasa plane na kung saan siya yung may karga ng sensor, the LiDAR sensor. Ayan. So, essentially, the entire project, parang mas more on nasa office ako, naggagawa ng GIS. Kasi the tasks of being on the field was done by other component. But it was fun, yeah.
Ano po yung main product nung nung LiDAR? Ano siya, parang topography or may other
Yes.
data din siya na binibigay?
So, essentially, bibigyan tayo ng remotely sensed na maps. So, mapapakita dito yung several products actually. So, meron siyang digital DSM. Yeah, digital surface model. Meron din siyang digital elevation model. So, it shows yung elevation nung halimbawa mga puno, mga buildings and that's the surface. And then yung pag sinabi nating digital elevation model, yun namang surface ng ground. So, kung malalim siya, bundok, ganyan. So,
Pag tinanggal mo na yung
and
puno, parang ganun.
yes, exactly. If we, pag tinanggal natin yung vegetation and all, pati other objects. So, yon. And the project also developed simulated maps that I think is available online. So, may PhilLiDAR or I just forgot kung ano yung parang website na nag-house sa kanya. Lipad, I think. Anyway, so
Oo.
yon. Yeah, so that was part of it was actually the product of the program. So it was a big program. It was a nationwide initiative to map major river basins and to simulate yung flooding incidences given na halimbawa magkaroon tayo ng this much rain, which areas will be affected. So yeah, those were one of the products of the PhilLiDAR program.
Ayun, so since talking about, since nag-usap naman na tayo ng research, so from LiDAR na ginagawa dati ni Ma'am Jem, ngayon punta naman natin yung recent paper niya. So ang title nito ay Women's Roles in Philippine Agriculture in the Context of Climate Change, a meta-synthesis using the Gender Analysis Framework. So ma'am, Sa segment na 'to, first question palagi ay, can you explain your paper in one sentence? Tungkol saan po ba ito?
Okay. This is challenging. So, this paper highlights how women contribute to climate adaptation in the Philippine context, specifically in Philippine agriculture. And it emphasizes the importance of recognizing the roles and support that women play in building a more resilient and inclusive agricultural sector.
Part po ba ito nung PhD study niyo or separate siya sa main task niyo?
Oh, so this is not part of my thesis, if yun yung tinatanong mo. So, but my PhD coursework has really a lot to do kung bakit ako naka-form na ganito. So, sige, aminin ko. So, if I'd be honest, back then, like siguro a few years ago, hindi ko talaga nakikita yung importance of knowing gender. Yeah, kasi medyo ano po ako parang I thought that pag usapan natin 'to, we can talk about this in general anyway, everybody is feeling the same. So, I just happened to enroll Gender and Environment. It's a course under SESAM kasi yung PhD ko rin kasi Envi-Sci din. So, essentially naubos ko na lahat ng courses ng SESAM. So, ito na lang yung natira. So, I took it kasi wala nang ibang makuha. So, gano'n. But then, lalo na dun sa social science na aspect wherein Prof. Irene discussed yung several gender theories. It really made me realize a lot of things, and it made me parang realize na I've been missing a lot right under my nose. Kasi kaya pala ganito yung paraan kung bakit nag-ooperate ang society, ang norm. It's because of the social theories, yung mga gender theories na yan. And then na-realize ko, it's such a big mistake not to consider this upfront, lalo na kung gagawa ng policies, gagawa ng mga studies. Kasi ito pala talaga yung dahilan kung bakit, women or yung ibang aspeto ng gender ng society is nai-ignore kasi nga generally na consider siya as a whole when in fact ang dami niyang mga importanteng factor na makikita mo lang kung hihimay-himayin mo kung papaano nagwo-work yung society. So, that inspired me. And then, yeah, it is the major trigger kung bakit ako nag-decide na, how about this? But yeah, to answer your question, no, this is not a part of my thesis. And currently, this is not yet a part of what I do in Picard.
Ang interesting po ng sinabi niyo kanina na bago niyo ginawa itong study na 'to, parang hindi niyo naman siya pinapansin na parang issue sa science. Well, ako parang gano'n din ako kasi ang dami ko ring nakakatrabaho na mga babae and also part of ayun nga, LGBTQIA+, kung tama yung enumeration ko ng letters. Basta ayun, hindi ko siya napapansin na issue kasi nga madami akong nakakatrabaho na ayun, women and LGBTQIA+. So ngayon siguro in this episode, gusto natin ma-enlighten sa ganitong topic. And before we dwell sa details ng study, can you explain din po dun sa part ng title, may yung last na phrase, yung meta-synthesis using gender analysis framework. Can you share din po ano bang ibig sabihin ng meta-synthesis and yung gender analysis framework?
Okay, so yung meta-synthesis more on collection of available literature. Tapos i-ano lang siya, kumbaga i-synthesize ano ba yung mga nagawa na related dito sa field na napili namin, and then to check how are the people in other areas doing in this context. And then yun, we used the gender analysis framework as basis kung papaano i-synthesize, kung papaano aaralin yung mga data na na-collect namin from our literature review. So, ayun lang yun. Kung napapansin niyo meron din kasi tayong tinatawag na parang meta-analysis. So that is deeper side of literature review kasi talagang siya, if I'm not mistaken, may computation siya in that But with us, what we do is qualitative, just synthesize and follow yung gender analysis framework. So yon. And speaking of gender analysis framework, to answer your second question, it is a framework wherein kung titingnan natin yung paper, it discusses or it identifies actually four thematic areas. Um, access to resources, meron tayong beliefs and participation, meron din tayong institution and policies, and meron tayong practices. Yon. And then, ang center niya is power. So essentially, tinitingnan nitong paper kung ano yung opportunities ng babae and participation in the context of Philippine agriculture dun sa mga thematic areas na yon and how they interplay dun sa tinatawag nating power. So yeah, so in a nutshell, that's what metasynthesis and what gender analysis framework is all about.
Yung phrase po na yung women in agriculture, what do you mean din po sa term na yun? Is it yung farmers natin going in the field, or lahat ng women in the field of agriculture?
Unfortunately, medyo limited lang kasi yung mga nakuha naming literature on this. So, hindi na namin in-identify yung particular part nung sa supply chain, value chain. So, parang lahat na lang ng babae na involved. And na-realize din namin habang ginagawa yung paper na yung sa lahat din ng stages actually ng farming, nagiging involved ang babae. So, hindi na lang namin siya kumbaga in-isolate or nag-determine ng specific na area. So as long as it's agriculture, hindi rin kami masyadong nag-deal na sa fisheries. So more on yung farming sa terrestrial na area. So yun yung parang naging scope talaga. Although I think part of the paper nag-discuss kami ng a little about seaweed farming, but that was just one paper kasi nga medyo limited yung aming nakuhang paper that really discusses about women in agriculture. At least during that time when we collected the data.
Hmm. Yung actually yun yung next question ko po. Paano nyo hinanap yung mga literature na to? How do you compile and aralin itong lahat ng papers na to?
Yeah. So, our paper used Prisma. So, isa siyang systematic way to screen the paper. There are a lot of literature on this. It's been widely used, especially if you're doing metasynthesis or meta-analysis. So, mag-identify ka muna ng keywords and then combinations, changes ng mga yung mga and or things like that, and then kung paano mo siya mga keywords, yeah. So, search, lahat ng lalabas, collate yan. So, that's the first part. And then, after that, may screening na mangyayari. Titingnan yung title. And then, yung mga hindi relevant, tanggal. And then, dug deeper, titingnan naman yung abstract, alin yung mag-fit until such time na maka-come up na ng malinis. So, it's a very tedious process. Kahit pa parang sabihin mo no, na, ano lang naman yan, literature review. But if you try to make it systematic, it's also very tedious. So, ayun, just to avoid bias na pili-pili ka lang kung ano yung sa tingin mo yung lalabas ka na. No, collective ang pag-gather ng data, and the screening was also we also followed yung structure ng Prisma. So, it is also discussed in the paper. So, yeah, basahin niyo once it's available.
Gaano kadaming papers yung binasa niyo dito? Nasa hundreds po ba?
Umabot po ng hundreds, yes. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Pero at the end, na-screen namin siya to some around 17 lang po yata, if I'm not mistaken.
Yung next question ko po dun, bakit kayo may emphasis dun sa, ayun, dun nga sa title meron kayong phrase na context of climate change. So bakit po kayo may emphasis sa climate change?
Kasi considering yung challenges na hinaharap natin, lalo na in the face of climate change, we need to get all the help that we can get. So, inisip namin, kailangan talaga siguro nating ma-highlight yung role ng babae para makita kung ano ba yung participation ng babae sa pagpapaigting ng resilience ng Philippine agriculture. So, essentially, yun yung parang nagpaikot dun sa pag-conceptualize ng paper. And at the same time, yung kasing mga co-authors ko, hello Nico and hello Sam. So, they're also into climate change work. So, ayun. So, nagsama-sama and then, okay, so let's do this paper. So, yon more on dahil research interest din ng mga kasama ko. And then we see that it's really it's meritorious naman na tingnan natin yung role ng Philippines agriculture facing the challenges of climate change.
Kung umabot kayo sa puntong ito, alam kong nag-e-enjoy kayo sa kwentuhan natin kasama ang ating mga Pinoy scientists. Kaya pasensya na kung naistorbo ko kayo. Gusto ko lang ipaalam na mayroon na tayong Patreon kung gusto nyo mag-enjoy ng mga exclusive benefits at syempre supportahan din ang Behind the Science podcast financially. $5 per month lang siya at kung gusto nyo i-avail ang subscription na ito, punta lang kayo sa www.patreon.com/btspodcastph. Kanina po may sinabi kayo na 4 na thematic areas. Pero nakalimutan ko na yung mga nakalimutan ko na yung mga nilista nyo. So, can you share din po ano yung mga nakita nyo doon na results after your literature review tapos na-divide nyo nga sa 4 na thematic areas? Ano yung nakita nyo?
Alright. So, dun sa access to benefits, tiningnan namin yung monetary and non-monetary benefits. So when we say monetary, ano ba yung ability ng babae na ma-secure ng loans, yung mga ganon for farming. Tiningnan din namin kung ano ba yung kanyang ability to access yung mga trainings, yung mga ganong klaseng enhancement. Ano ba yung access ng babae to own land? Na mag-rent halimbawa ng mga farming pools and parang yung mga sa mechanization, things like that. So yun, essentially, varying siya. Pinakita niya na some areas medyo limited pa rin. So, ang medyo nahihirapan sa decision making kasi kapag halimbawang for example, nagpapa-training so dahil hindi naman yung babae yung nakaka-attend, well, I'm not saying this happens to all, pero for example lang, hindi naman babae yung nakaka-attend, so tapos ang nag-field halimbawa kasi ang babae tumutulong din siya sa stages ng farming. So minsan kasi babaeng naiiwan sa bahay. So kung ano yung natututunan dun sa training, hindi siya essentially na-apply. And then yung sa for example, dahil hindi siya maka-own ng land, essentially yung decision kung ano yung itatanim, kung ano yung gagawin sa lupa, hindi rin kanya. So women in these cases really tend to follow kung ano yung nakaugalian, kung ano yung decision ng head of the family. So may mga ganon. Although it is also good to note that in some areas, or at least we were able to retrieve some literature na nagsasabi na this is actually improving. So may mga pagkakataon na actually sa field ngayon, a lot of women are also being active sa cooperatives. Yun. So with that, this gives them the avenue to access more resources. So yun. So tinatry lang namin ipakita na may ganitong limitations. However, there are also improvements in this context through this. So yun yung essentially parang ganun yung sa access to benefits. Yun namang belief and
Ay, curious po
perception.
pala
Yes,
ako dun
sorry.
sa
Yes.
curious ako dun sa binanggit nyo na yung access sa land ng babaeng farmer na hindi siya pwedeng maka-own ng land.
Yeah. So, hindi naman sa hindi pwede, pero very often yung lupa kasi, for example sa magkakapatid, 'di ba parang usually pinapasa siya sa lalaki kasi yung lalaki naman yung magfa-farm. So parang gano'n. So parang hindi parang relatively mas mababa ang chance ng babae na mag-own ng land. Yan, with a lot of reasons why. So, halimbawa yun sa inheritance, hindi sila gano'n. And then, siguro dahil na rin 'to sa kanilang purchasing ability medyo mababa, so hindi nakakabili din ng lupa on their own. Yeah, so especially yung sa rural, areas na wala namang formal source of living yung babae kundi tumulong 'di ba sa pagsasaka ng asawa, but at the end of the day parang ayun na yun. So yun, may mga challenges and, factors that does not really, um, pave way, let's say, para magkaroon sila ng access to own the lands. So essentially parang ganun yung sinasabi ng mga, papers na nabasa namin,
I see. And so, number
'yan.
2.
Okay, so yung belief and perception, eto mas ano siya, eto yung parang pinakamaunti na nakuha namin na data. Kasi hindi naman masyadong at least hindi hindi kami nakahanap masyado ng mga paper na nagkukuwento tungkol dito sa belief and perception. Um, so eto kasi yung eto actually yung parang invisible hand na nagdi-dictate kung papaano nagwo-work yung society. So for example, yung community kasi parang nakikita nila na yung babae ay taong bahay lang. So sa bahay ka lang. Kapag, umalis ka or nagtrabaho ka on your own, parang, ay pabaya kang ina. So I'm not saying this is still like ito yung nangyayari talaga, pero ganito kasi yung cases dun sa nabasa naming paper and I think to some extent ganito pa rin yung nangyayari lalo na sa rural area. So essentially, yung beliefs and perception, lalo na kung yung society mo ay andun pa rin sa medyo patriarchal, really hinders women to reach their maximum potential. So you are a homemaker, so sa bahay ka, mag-alaga ng bata, ganyan-ganan. So sa farming naman siguro puwede kang tumulong sa, um, pag ano ba yung mga ginagawa ng babae, siguro yung pag-preparation ng land, pagtatanggal ng mga previous na tanim and that. Pero yung decision making nasa lalaki pa rin kasi siya yung head of the family. So you know the ano parang gano'n siya, eh, na yung society mo ang babae is susunod ka lang talaga sa lalaki. So gano'n din yung nangyayari. So sa halip siguro sana na may na-contribute pa yung babae, parang limited na kasi nga yung society is shaped that way. So, it was very interesting kasi parang dahil nga babae ang naiiwan sa bahay, naiiwan to tend, to care, 'di ba? So, parang ang tagging kasi natin sa babae is yung taga-alaga, caregiver and that. So, usually sila talaga yung naiiwan sa bahay. This is a different not related to the paper or not at least not directly related. Pero meron kasi akong nabasa na parang ang sinasabi dahil yung babae yung nasa, na laging naiiwan at nag-aalaga, so they gather woods, things like that. So, sila yung mas may connection sa environment, 'di ba? Parang sila yung mas nakakaalam sa, ganito, ganyan. Pero nga, ayun, dahil pagdating sa decision making lalo na sa households na wala masyadong, um financial flexibility or parang wala masyadong parang power yung babae kasi hindi siya gano'n kalakas magbigay ng financial contribution sa bahay. So, parang hindi niya masyadong ma-maximize yung knowledge na puwede niya sanang i-contribute. So, medyo doon nagdu-dwell yung beliefs and practices. So, essentially kung paano nakikita ng society ang role ng babae greatly affects kung ano yung nagiging role niya talaga sa society. So yung number 3 yung, participation. So medyo relevant siya kasi yung isa belief. So parang participation, yung translation nun. So ano yung participation na talagang nangyayari sa, na ginagawa ng babae in terms of, Philippine agriculture and lalo na sa yun nga sa harap ng climate change. So dun, kumbaga parang na-validate lang that indeed sa value chain, sa supply chain ng agriculture, maraming laging present ang babae. So hindi man entirely present sa buong chain, pero lagi siyang andon at some point. Tumutulong sa pag-sow ng seeds, tumutulong sa ganyan. selling even, gano'n. What's important about knowing yung participation ng babae is puwede rin kasi siyang, makita as a guide kung saan ba puwedeng mas ma-enhance pa further or kung saan ba talagang mas nagdu-dwell siya, do'n siya puwedeng mas i-encourage na na gumalaw or kung saan may pagkukulang baka tingnan natin kung bakit hindi siya puwedeng ma-enhance diyan. Kasi, um, dahil mas may close, um, relationship, masasabing mas may closer relationship ang babae towards nature. Sila actually yung may nurturing na na parang, decision making. Yeah, I just forgot kung anong paper yon and I think it was mentioned siguro dun sa paper namin, but it was really nice na parang ang sinasabi nung paper, mahalaga na ma-integrate yung knowledge ng babae sa experience niya as a caregiver and taga-alaga ng mga garden, ganon-ganon. Kasi mas marami din silang alam tungkol sa climate and kung climate change, ayan, and how to adjust accordingly. So, yun yung parang pinaka-sense nung ano, yeah. And yung last, yung policy, governance, institution, what we did there is tiningnan namin yung mga legal framework, policies na meron that promotes yung gender role or at least yung role ng babae sa agriculture. So, yeah, I think yun yung parang pinaka-ano din niya, tingnan namin kung may mga studies ba na yun yung naging focus. And then all in all, yun, parang integration ng lahat ng yon power. Ano yung interplay nung apat na thematic areas para masabi na, okay, ganito yung role ng babae sa agricultural sector. Ito yung hindrances, ito yung challenges. At the same time, ito naman yung mga improvements, ito yung developments.
Siguro po balikan ko po kanina yung nabanggit niyo dun sa beliefs kasi, may impression ako na yung paniniwala natin sa society ay shaped din sa panahon natin. Di ko alam kung may sense yung sinasabi ko, pero dito sa study niyo, sa literature review niyo, anong may ginamit ba kayo na duration nung papers na yun? Like for example, dapat na-publish lang siya within this time frame para yun yung
Yeah.
ano niyo sa analysis.
Hala, hindi ko siya maalala pero definitely kasama yung time kung hindi ako nagkakamali, 2010? Kasi 2023 namin kinonceptualize, tapos hanggang na-develop na lang siya eventually. So, I think if I'm not mistaken, 2010 yung earliest na publication. So, by the way, kasama siya sa PRISMA na na framework. So, included din yung time frame.
Natanong ko lang kasi ano, 'di ba minsan may mga expressions tayo na ano, "Okay, boomer." Tapos iba iba yung paniniwala ng generation ngayon
Oo.
dun sa pinaniwalaan nila dati. So ayun,
Right.
curious lang din ako sa
Right.
coverage ng study. And then yung isa din po na very curious ako in doing this type of study, well, similar din sa yung diversity, ano bang complete ng diversity, kalimutan ko yung meaning ng E&I. Basta parang naisip ko lang na ano, hindi ba the more na you focus on this topic, parang nagiging paradoxical siya na ano, napapabayaan mo naman yung ibang bagay. Like for example, ito, magfo-focus ka on doing women studies, and then parang nagiging paradox siya na the more you focus on it, napapabayaan mo din yung example kalalakihan or and other genders. Ano lang,
Yeah.
thinking
So,
out loud.
yeah. So, actually yan din yung gusto kong iklaro kasi ngayon I'm not sure kung familiar ka pero God yung gamit natin, gender and development. So,
Ay,
hindi siya
narinig ko na yung
male,
term
hindi siya
pero
female, it's
wala akong
gender.
alam.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So, God yung ginagamit natin, gender and development. So, nagkaroon kasi siya, oh my God, sorry baka hindi ko mabigyan ng justice yung discussion Ma'am Irene way before. Pero nagkaroon kasi ng development yung mga theories ng gender. So, parang dati naging ano tayo, feminist, tapos may kung ano, ang dami pang nangyayari. Tapos, eventually nakarating tayo dito sa point na God na yung ating, kino-consider. So, gender and development because ito naman hindi natin dini-discriminate yung babae at lalaki kasi we understand na to some extent, hindi talaga siya magiging equal. Kailangan lang nating i-enhance yung mga bagay na puwede namang i-enhance kasi ayaw din nating i-discredit na definitely may important roles din na ginagawa yung lalaki. So, parang dito lang sa paper, the reason why, we focused on women kasi 'pag sinabi kasi nating eto, 'pag sinabi nating agriculture, definitely kung tatanungin ka kung ng gender, definitely ang iisipin mo, it's a man's work. So, parang gusto lang naming i-highlight through this paper na mahalaga din na mabigyan ng, attention and, enough resources yung babae to enhance yung role na ginagawa niya sa entire farming activity. Para just to ensure na, supported talaga and mas mapakinabangan yung kaalaman na puwedeng i-contribute ng babae.
I-emphasize ko lang din siguro bakit ko yun natanong kasi very common na misconception. Well, yung concept nung feminism and all, yung parang common
Hmm,
misconception ay gusto mong
yes.
i-overpower or overthrow, parang ganun. So ayun, kaya ko lang din yun natanong.
So yun, gusto ko yun nga, ang common misconception 'pag sinabing gender lagi siyang women. Hindi po dapat gano'n. Kasi, tayo po ay parang gender and development yung ating parang isinusulong. So, gender, hindi siya binary, hindi siya gender talaga. So, what's good about this is hindi naman tayo nagpa-prioritize. Sa paper namin, sa context ng paper namin, gusto lang naming ipakita na ito yung role ng babae, dito sila gumagalaw, eto yung contribution nila, possible pa siya na mas ma-enhance kung mas mabibigyan ng pansin. So, hindi naman natin diniscredit in any section or in any part yung ginagawa ng lalaki. It's just that mas gusto natin na dahil may contribution ng babae, puwede natin siyang linangin, puwede nating i-improve, i-develop through providing resources, opportunities, ganyan. Kasi mention ko nga earlier, we need all the help that we can get, especially in the face of climate change. So gano'n, 'yan. So yeah, gender, that's very, very true. Hindi siya pro babae, hindi para i-discredit ang lalaki, but rather ano, kumbaga i-push din along with, sa lalaki parang 'wag lang matabunan yung babae. Yeah, hindi sila dapat nagko-contradict.
Hmm. Kanina po nasabi niyo na ano, before doing this study or before kayo nag-enroll dun sa class, nakalimutan ko na din yung pangalan ng class. Basta before kayo
Gender and environment,
enroll dun
yeah.
sa gender environment na class, hindi niyo nakikita yung ganitong issue. Were there any ano, surprising na results for you nung ginawa mo na yung study?
Um, hin so paano ba, ang naging realization ko lang dun is lalong siguro na-highlight yung disparity na availability ng resources and opportunities sa babae. So ayun lang, siguro at the back of my mind, I'm not really surprised kasi parang may bias din ako na siguro nga limited yung involvement, limited yung participation. Pero while we did the paper, parang na-underscore niya na, ay ganito pala talaga. Mas actually parang nabigyan ng kulay. So kumbaga parang silhouette, yun yung ano ko pagtingin ko dito. So silhouette, may idea ko somehow na ganito, pero nung ginawa namin yung paper, nabuo yung image na, ganito pala talaga, yun.
Ayun, so for anyone interested na basahin yung study, punta lang kayo sa description, naka-link naman palagi yung study. Although at the time of recording, hindi pa siya available online pero i-update i-update ko rin
Yeah.
eventually yung ano, description 'pag naging available na yung study. Ngayon naman po punta naman natin yung more on behind the scenes in doing this study. So, as you mentioned earlier, parang product ito ng class niyo yung study na 'to. So,
Hindi
ano ba
rin.
may ay hindi
Hindi
rin.
siya product. Sige, sige, sorry, go on.
Ano pa yung ano yung financial resources na kinailangan niyo to do this study?
So, sige, I'll build on that. Hindi siya part ng aking coursework sa SESAM. In fact, yung mga kasama ko dito, hi Nico, hi Sam, hindi ko rin sila kaklase while I took the course. So walang ano 'to, wala ring pondo. So ano lang talaga siya, paano ba? Siguro passionate lang siguro talaga kami to do studies like this kasi, um, Nico and Sam have their day jobs. Ako at that time, ano ba ginagawa ko nun? Di ko maalala, pero I think estudyante pa ako nung time na yon. So, but still, I'm doing my coursework, probably doing my outline ng thesis. So, we completed this paper in between our responsibilities. So, yun, kaya rin siguro at that point, qualitative siya in nature, literature review, kasi yun nga, admittedly, we do not have enough resources. So, at least by doing literature review, meaningful pa rin naman siya without shelling out pera, yun, which we do not have, at least at that time. So, yeah, this was siguro I'd say purely out of passion. Oh, wow.
Did you experience din po yung mga similar experiences dun sa sinabi niyo sa study or wala naman?
I think wala naman. As far as I'm aware, hindi ko naman siya na-experience. Well, literally hindi kasi hindi naman kami nagfa-farm. Um, okey lang din naman yung mga alam ko, at least yung mga kilala ko na farmers. Figuratively siguro sa ginagawa ko ngayon, parang hindi rin naman. So, siguro andun ako sa mas progressive na side ng society na hindi na gaanong hindi nadi-discriminate ang babae. In fact, I'm happy to say that equal naman yata ang treatment. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Ito din yung maganda rin na parang i-point out na habang nagpo-progress tayo as a civilization, parang nagiging advanced din yung parang pananaw natin sa buhay na yung mga dating ginagawa na oppressive talagang nababago din siya in this time. And lalong-lalo na ngayon parang napapansin ko 'to, na ibang-iba yung view ng ano bang generation na ngayon, Gen Z or hindi ko na-track yung
May
yung
alpha,
mga
Gen Z
pangalan ng
alpha ba silang
generation.
sinasabi?
Ayun,
Hindi ko
may
I
alpha pa.
I lost track na rin.
Di ko na rin
Kaya may
di
gano'n
ko na
pa.
rin alam. Basta isa din yun sa mga napapansin ko na ibang 'pag nakita mo yung mga views nila or yung mga pino-post nila na views online, ibang-iba siya siguro sa mga nakasanayan din natin before and ayun, yun lang din yung gusto ko din parang i-emphasize.
If I may share my opinion, this is not part of the paper,
Ah,
wala 'tong,
go lang po, oo.
scientific basis. So, ang feeling ko kasi by the way, nagturo din ako, na environmental science at some point. And then part ng tinuturo ko may lecture ako on population, social demographics, gano'n. So, pinag-iisipan ko rin siya. So, parang sa tingin ko, isa sa dahilan, major reason kung bakit nagbabago na yung society natin, it's that women are now empowered. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung, trend ng kung ilan yung pinapanganak ng babae dati at ngayon, mas maunti na lang ngayon kasi ang babae ay hindi na lang nakikita na nasa bahay, hindi na lang siya nakikita na nag-aalaga lang ng bata. Like ako personally, hindi ako mag-aanak ng marami kasi may career ako. I have different roles aside from being at the home, bearing child. So, I think napakalaking bagay na empowered yung babae. Alam nila kung ano yung pwede pa nilang gawin para mas makilala sila, mas naririnig sila. So, iyon, nag-PhD ako, nag-masters ako kasi may pagkakataon. Thank you DOST. And then, um, dahil nakapag-aral ako, nagkaroon ako ng pagkakataon na maging mas malawak yung perspective sa mga bagay-bagay. Mas nakita ko na, ay, eto yung mga roles na puwede kong gawin. So, it's really more. than just being at home. So hindi ko sinasabi na dapat 'wag magstay sa bahay ang babae. So at least lang mas nagkaroon tayo ng options na i-explore. So with the empowerment ng babae, access to knowledge, access to opportunities, I think iyon yung dahilan kung bakit mas marami ng nag-e-excel na babae sa society, and siguro yun din ang dahilan kung bakit hindi ko na nararamdaman or at least never kong naramdaman na may discrimination dahil babae ako. Kasi nga marami ng babae ang talagang nagdu-dwell and nag-e-excel sa kanya-kanyang larangan. So yun, empowerment, I think it's really the empowerment of women that's parang preparing the stage na, "Eh, may babae rin dito sa field na 'to," ganyan. Kasi yun, they are empowered. Yes.
Tsaka ngayon ano, ang dami na ring babae sa dati na male-dominated na courses. Like for example,
Hmm,
ako BS Geology ako, tapos yung sinasabi nila dati, siguro yung mga babae lang na students, mabibilang mo lang sa kamay mo. Pero
hmm,
ngayon ano na rin, 50-50 na rin yung population ng male to female. Male to female yung ginagamit ko kasi hindi ko alam kung yung ratio pag
yeah.
i-account mo pa yung ano. So,
Yeah.
tapos ano din, halimbawa yung sa physics din, kasi yung kapatid ko physics major, tapos may podcast din sila na Liknayan Podcast. Tapos isa din sa mga nababanggit nila ano, dumadami na rin yung mga babae sa physics. Isang nakwento din nila na ano, 'pag sa physics conference, wala kang makikitang pila ng babae sa ano, sa CR na pambabae. Pero ngayon daw ano, mahaba na
Ah,
yung pila. So magandang sign daw na ano, dumadami yung mga babae
ah,
sa physics. So
yeah.
ayun lang din. 'Yan.
Yeah,
So ayun,
actually.
almost 1 hour na rin tayo. Madami-dami na kaming napag-usapan ni Ma'am Jem. And, siguro po before we let you go ma'am, ano po ang mga ma-advice niyo sa mga aspiring researchers lalo na sa ano, mga kababaihan?
Hindi ko naman masasabi na ano, I will not claim na ako ay successful and rightful na magbigay ng suggestion and recommendations, whatnot. But, siguro ang masasabi ko lang base sa experience ko, this was really unplanned. Ayun nga, nabanggit ko nga kanina, I'm not I never imagined I'll be here kung tinanong niyo ako 10, 20 years ago. Pero, siguro ang naging maganda nun is I made the most out of what is present right now until eventually it led me to where I am. So kung hindi man kung hindi man ideal yung sitwasyon niyo ngayon, kung sa tingin niyo may mga challenges and whatnot, siguro ang masasabi ko lang, um, you make the most out of it and then later on mare-realize niyo na buti na lang pala nangyari yung mga, challenges na yun, nangyari yung mga nangyari kasi definitely they are there to bring you where you should be 10, 15, 20 years from now. So, yun, ano lang, live the present. Hindi ako sure kung dapat ko 'tong sinasabi ano, pero yun. Yun, so definitely lalo na sa
Comment
larangan ng
please.
research, it will never be, hala, feeling ko ako yung may problema sa internet, trying to
Ayan, bumalik
connect.
na. Okay. So, last question po, do you have anything to promote?
Ano na lang siguro, wala ko ipo-promote, pero siguro encourage na lang students and early career researchers to stay curious, remain open. Um, Hindi, again, sabi ko nga kanina, hindi siya like laging maganda, hindi laging ideal ang mga bagay-bagay. Pero we'll just have to make the most out of it and then eventually we'll realize na, buti na lang nangyari yung mga gano'n. So, yun, sana gano'n yung maging mangyari. And then, siguro ano, for those who are interested in agriculture, aquatic, and natural resources research, I encourage you to visit sites of DOST and DOST Picard. And then, nagbibigay kami ng mga information, updates about things on agriculture, aquatic, and natural resources. So, yon, pwede rin siguro kayong makakilala ng mga magiging ka-collaborate and things like that. So, lastly, of course, siguro I want to thank my co-authors, Dr. Nico Jason Anastasio and Miss Samantha Geraldine de los Reyes for the collaboration and making this paper happen. And also, of course, to pass for your consideration of having our paper published. It's an honor, and I hope that you guys read the paper once it's available online, and then you can ask us if you wanted more questions, and we're happy to address those questions. Yan. So, yun lang. And of course, behind the science. Thank you so much for having me here.
Ayun, bumalik na rin sa wakas yung video and audio. na nagkakaproblema kami sa internet. So, ayun, maraming salamat kay Ma'am Jem sa pagpapa-unlock ng aming imbitasyon. And maraming salamat sa lahat ng nakinig at nanood. See you everyone next week. Madami pa tayong pag-uusapan na research na ginagawa ng ating mga Pinoy scientists.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.